Awesome. Thank you. I'll see if I can get it working in a second here. I'll go ahead and kick off today's State Housing Board meeting. Welcome, everybody. My name is Anthea Martin. I'm chair of the State Housing Board. We'll start the meeting by calling it to order and doing a roll call. Nancy Jackson.
I'm here.
Hi, Nancy. James Martinez.
Here.
Thanks, James. Ryan Moses.
Here.
Candace Payne, I believe, is out today, and somebody has her proxy.
I do. James.
Great. Thanks, James. LaDon Sperling. Monique is running late and someone has her proxy.
Hi, this is Laura. I do believe that James has Monique's proxy.
Monique. Sorry. Yes.
And LaDon has Candace's, right?
Correct.
Okay. So we have right now, we have 4 board members, so we're good. Hopefully LaDon will be joining and representing herself and Candace, but regardless, we're good. And I noticed we have a vacant spot. Is that in the process of being filled?
It will be filled by our next meeting, so we'll be excited to announce our new board member shortly.
Excellent. Thanks for that update, Teresa. Great. So since we have a quorum, we can move forward. I'd like to request approval of the January 2025 meeting votes.
So moved. James.
Thank you, James. In a second.
I'll second them.
Thank you, Ryan. All those in favor signify by aye or a hand raise. Aye.
Aye.
Is anybody opposed
I abstain because I wasn't there.
or abstaining? Thank you, Nancy. So we have, do we have enough to move this forward then with my approval, James's and Ryan Moses and Nancy abstaining? I don't think we have enough for approval of this. Has LaDon joined by any chance?
LaDon has indicated she is running a little late.
Okay. Well, let's table that for a second. Let's move on to the next item in our agenda. And once we have LaDon and Monique join, we'll be just fine to pick that vote back up again. So next on the agenda is an update from Director Allison George.
Thanks, Anthea. I just first want to start by thanking everyone for your dedication. There's so much going on and what you do matters. And so really wanted to thank you all. I know that it says figure setting. I'm not really going to focus on figure setting so much today. Happy to answer any questions that I can, though at this point. But I really wanted to focus on federal funding to provide an update and then highlight some of the recent updates with our legislative efforts in particular. So House Bill 1019 and Senate Bill 002 in particular. So just, I guess, since figure setting is listed, I will let you know what figure setting actually is. How about that? That will be my update. What is figure setting? Figure setting is where the legislature, the Joint Budget Committee in particular, determines how it is going to, its first run at setting the state's budget. And so for the Department of Local Affairs, figure setting is on Friday. So as of Friday, we will know how the legislature and the Joint Budget Committee in particular is looking at DOLA's budget. So that's what figure setting is. More to come though. Okay, so let's start with federal funds. So we're continuing to navigate the directives that are coming down from the federal administration. including the recent memo to temporarily pause all activities related to obligations or disbursements of all federal financial assistance. This federal freeze, though, has been temporarily halted by the courts with a successful temporary restraining order that makes funding available to continue supporting our important work. It's important to note there are some federal recommendations that are coming through. These are funds that the department has funding letters, has agreements with the federal government. We feel comfortable taking these forward. It's important that we continue operations as usual. Okay, so wanted to be sure that you knew that going into this meeting. So the guidance that we've received has spurred many questions from grant recipients and beneficiaries on what this federal freeze might mean for reimbursements, current applications, and general current and future impacts to programs. While this freeze on federal funding was temporarily halted by the court, we expect that federal agencies will continue to conduct reviews of existing grant programs. DOLA anticipates that the situation will continue to evolve in the coming weeks and months. As always, our mission, DOH's mission, remains steadfast to strengthen Colorado communities and support this work. So we will continue on. Our commitment to continue to make every effort to provide you with clear, accurate, and timely information as it becomes available to us during what we anticipate will be an ongoing period of uncertainty related to federal actions and funding. So before I move on to the state legislature and the couple of bills that we are closely moving forward with the sponsors, any questions on our federal side?
I have a question. I don't know if you can see my hand up.
Yes, Nancy.
I know that things are changing rapidly and are incredibly uncertain. But we have a number of applications that we're to approve today. I'm just double checking to make sure these are state funds and won't be affected by any kind of federal movement. And that at some point you or other folks will tell us what funds are federal and what funds will be affected.
Absolutely. So there are a few projects that are federally funded, or we're hoping will be federally funded, assuming approval of the State Housing Board today. And those are funding commitments that we have from the federal government. So we are directed to administer those dollars through our agreement with the U.S. Housing and Urban Development Department. And so these are funds that we are moving forward because they're funds that we have a legal obligation to continue to administer. And we take that very seriously. It is our mission, it is our vision to be providing these housing resources out to our communities. And with the stay of the freeze, we feel comfortable and we feel good about moving these projects forward with these funds.
Okay, I appreciate your, I appreciate what you're saying. Thank you very much, Allison.
Absolutely, Nancy.
Allison, have we ever been in a situation like this before? And if so, do you have any sense of if things are approved, if those deals continue to move forward, and perhaps it's just the ones that have not been approved that are at jeopardy?
So we have a contract with the federal government. I want to make that very clear, that we have contracts for these funds, that we are to administer the dollars. I've been with the state almost 14 years and 11 months. And I have had the President of the United States create a budget. that zeroes out different funding lines. And as it goes through Congress, because the president is not the one that sets the budget or creates a budget, it is Congress. And so it needs to go through that legislative process for there to be a final budget for the country. And so although there has been this freeze from the new administration, it is being tested in the courts now. My understanding of the process is also that this has happened before. I'm like, was it in my lifetime? I actually think it probably was in my lifetime, but I was not cognizant of what was going on at the time. So President Nixon actually put a freeze on federal spending. And so that is what created, and I'm going to have to phone a friend at the moment. If Julia's on the line, I know she'll type in what that law was, but it's the Impoundment Act. Is anybody going to put it in the chat? Darn it. So based on that freeze during the Nixon administration, Congress had passed a law that does not, oh, there she goes. Thank you, Julia. I appreciate that. That does not allow the freezing of funds because it is Congress that sets the budget and it is not the executive branch. Of course, we have to do these things in concert together. So it is being determined in the courts now how these things go forward. But again, we have contracts with the federal government that we are to administer these dollars.
That is really helpful. Thank you.
Shall we talk about the great state of Colorado? I love talking about the great state of Colorado. Okay, let's move on to Colorado's legislature. You probably noticed in your board packets last week that the Next Step to Gen program had funding recommendations that were contingent on the passage of House Bill 1019. This is a technical fix. And so I wanted to give you an update because it has passed its second hearing in the Senate, which means it only needs one more hearing in the Senate. So it goes later this week for its final read in the Senate. It's already passed the House. And so soon it will be signed into law, assuming these things all move forward. What does this bill do? House Bill 1019 provides a technical fix to allow us, the Department of Local Affairs Division of Housing, to utilize third parties such as Colorado nonprofit organizations to administer our homelessness programs from Prop 123. This was necessary because we have a conflict actually in that legislation that we hadn't realized at the time. And so with the homeownership provision, okay, note that I said homeownership, it allows homeownership programs to be administered by one or more contractors of the division. This is standard, this is normal. The homelessness section, though, of the statute inadvertently omitted that provision. So this technical fix rectifies that omission. So it's very important. Otherwise, the division would be required to administer all homelessness services. Can you imagine? Ouch. Our partners are critical at the local level in administering our programs. And so I'm excited to see this technical fix make it all the way through. The other bill that I wanted to highlight is Senate Bill 002. This is an exciting one that the department is helping to move forward. Very supportive of this. It's regarding regional building codes for factory-built structures. Deputy Executive Director Mo Miskell, remember Mo, testified last week in front of the Senate Local Government Committee. This bill, it establishes a statewide program, or I should say, talking about Nixon days. So back in 1971, the statewide program with oversight of factory-built construction started in the Division of Housing. So that allowed us code adoption and enforcement through plan reviews and inspections of these structures, both commercial and residential. So in other words, this model of statewide regulation has been in operation in our state for 54 years, and it's been a model successfully deployed across the country. So we're very excited to expand this with regional codes. So I will, the regional code approach will help with the production and planning and reduce the number of construction plans required for factory built structures. So we anticipate cost savings to the consumer. By creating the regional building codes to help consolidate these unique climatic and geographic requirements for factory built structures into more manageable groupings of jurisdictions with similar requirements. So Senate Bill 002 will help make badly needed housing more affordable for every Colorado budget, increase efficiency in construction, and ensure homes, whether they be single family dwelling or multifamily structures, are built to withstand the unique conditions of different parts of our state, making things more streamlined, really looking through cutting red tape, maintaining high safety standards, and keeping local government involved. This bill will help us get more homes built faster and more efficiently. So these are two bills that we're closely watching and advocating for. And I'm happy to answer any questions folks have on these bills, or any other questions, I guess. Okay. No other questions. So we will have our new Congressional District 2 member in February. So excited to introduce Ryan to everyone, and we'll have 2 Ryans here soon.
Great. Allison, did you have more?
That's it.
Okay, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. We'll have to start using the J Ryan to distinguish the Ryans then. And thank you for that update. I see that LaDon joined us, and I don't think Monique has joined us, but LaDon, since you are here and you're also representing Candace, nice to see you. If we could go back, please, to the January meeting minute votes. LaDon, do you have any questions on the January 2025 meeting minutes? If not, if you could please join us in voting in affirmation of passing those.
Yes, I'm in favor.
Thank you. Great. Okay. Wonderful. We have several applications today. First up is the House Pad Longmont, and presenting is Matt Long for Pamela Gibson.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I am filling in for both Pam Gibson and Wayne McClary today, who are both in Philadelphia hanging out with the Super Bowl champs, as well as leading an affordable housing training at the NeighborWorks Training Institute. So I believe they might be able to join for a portion of the call, but I've been asked to fill in just in case. So Pam Gibson is the lead for the first project of the day, House Pad. So House Pad, now known as True North, is Longmont's first income qualified, affordable, attainable for sale neighborhood. The former farm property sited at the north end of town was sold at a price discounted to the city by the landowner whose family held and worked the land over generations. This application for Prop 123 funding supports the first phase of a multi-phase project with 52 modular built single-family homes, and townhomes, of which 10 homes will utilize state funds to provide affordability up to 80% AMI. At full build-out, the community of 185 homes will include 130 attainable homes restricted to 120% AMI, with approximately 55 homes further restricted to 80% AMI. Proximity of the site will provide the new homeowners with pedestrian access to schools, shopping, museums, and recreational opportunities. So with that, I am pleased to introduce Katie Pung and Molly O'Donnell with the City of Longmont's Office of Housing and Community Investment. Take it away, Katie and Molly.
Good afternoon. My name is Molly O'Donnell, and I'm the Housing and Community Investment Director for the City of Longmont. Here is Katie Pung, our Housing Development Project Manager for the city. We are so pleased to have been invited to present on Longmont's affordable and attainable for sale neighborhood, which is now known as True North Longmont. 2 weeks ago, we celebrated the official groundbreaking of the project and hope to have our first set of homes available for sale later this spring. I'm going to let Katie briefly go over the project details, and then we'll be available for any questions.
So hi there, I am Katie, and thank you again for taking the time to consider this project. So as Matt mentioned, True North Longmont is a phased development which will eventually contain 185 deed restricted for sale homes over 16 acres in Longmont. Our application to the state is for phase 1, which contains 52 home ownership units mixing townhomes and single family residences, 10 of which fit the Prop 123 criteria of below 80% AMI and deed restricted for at least 30 years. And in actuality, these 10 homes have a permanent deed restriction following the city's inclusionary housing policy. For reference, the other 242 homes in phase 1 are attainable at 120% AMI, but unlike the affordable units, they have a rolling deed restriction, which did not fit the criteria of funding, which is why we're just applying for the 10 homes. So our funding request was the maximum of $70,000 a unit plus the 10% bonus for the use of modular construction, totaling a request of $770,000. So this deal has been years in the making and is an excellent example of a public-private partnership to allow for affordable and attainable homeownership development at this scale. As again, Matt mentioned, the city was offered this land from a Longmont family well below market rate a couple years ago. And since that time, we have been working to create a viable development solution that met our housing needs and community benefit goals. We're working with vertical development based out of Louisville. We have entered into a development agreement to outline the intended outcome and solidify the city's investment to the project, which has included the land contribution, forthcoming fee waivers, and infrastructure funding in order to create a viable development. These homes will be a true asset to Longmont. They're all electric and help meet our sustainable and climate action goals. The neighborhood fosters community and connection. And as again, Matt mentioned, a great location offering easy access to schools, jobs, and recreation. The city's committed to investing in affordable housing through many different avenues, and this creative partnership is just showcasing our commitment to addressing our housing crisis head on. So we're so grateful to the state for their continuous investment and partnership in a lot of different projects, and hope we can continue that partnership through True North Longmont. So with that, we tried to make it quick as asked, and so we will open it up for questions.
Great, thank you for the presentation. Do we have any questions from the board? I have a question. I apologize. I cannot seem to get my packet to open up. Can you confirm if you have any sources coming into this deal that are like green funding sources? Green federal funding sources?
No, we do not.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, hearing no other questions, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, next up is Cottonwoods at Mid Valley, and presenting is James Russell.
Hello, everybody, members of the State Housing Board. It's a pleasure to speak to you all again. My name is James Russell, and I was the Devo for this project. I'm here to present Phase 2 of the Cottonwoods in Mid Valley, a homeownership development project by Yampa Valley Housing Authority. It's located in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, and this project aims to provide affordable housing opportunities to local families in a highly sought-after area. The proposed development includes 63 new units, including a mix of studios, 1-bedrooms, and 2-bedrooms, with 40 of these units particularly aimed at 90 to 100% folks at the area median income. The market study confirms strong demand for affordable housing in the area, including nearly 50 buyers already interested in the units created in Phase 1. The region's housing market has seen significant increases in prices, making affordable homeownership even more critical. Yampa Valley Housing Authority has a strong history of successful affordable housing projects such as Fauke Creek Village and Asplin Village, and the project's financing includes a $5 million short-term rental grant from the City of Steamboat Springs and a land donation of a value of about $4.9 million. To complete this project, we are requesting a $3.08 million grant for Prop 123 for the support of 40 affordable units. These fundings are essential for the development of not only people who are living in the community today, but those who aspire to live there into the future. Along with me today, I have Jason Peasley and his team. Jason, would you like to take it away?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to speak with the State Housing Board. It's been an absolute pleasure working with James on this project. We're really proud of the opportunity to bring more homeownership opportunities to our community. We have, sort of a situation that's pretty similar in most mountain communities where free market homes, be it single family townhomes or condos, are essentially out of reach for our general workforce. And so it's through a lot of hard work and funding from a variety of sources that has given us the opportunity to develop this for sale housing. It's important to note we have about $5 million coming in from the City of Steamboat Springs in their newly passed short-term rental tax, and also a donation of land to the Housing Authority that we're putting into this project to make this affordable. It's really difficult in the mountains to deliver this level of affordability, given the high cost of construction, the high cost of land, the timelines for building. We've done quite a bit of rental developments. The Housing Authority has. It pales in comparison how hard single-family homeownership is, and it's really important, and we really appreciate the support of the state, bringing resources to the table to help us make this homeownership dream possible for 40 more families. I wanted to just kind of finish off by saying that we think that this is a phenomenal opportunity for the state to invest in our community. I know that the state has made many investments in our community, and I really appreciate that long-term support. And I think that what you're seeing is our local community really stepping up and bringing a significant amount of resources to the table to pair with the states to deliver this homeownership. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. I also have members of my team on board as well if they can jump in and help with any questions. But otherwise, we'll open it up to you and take it from there.
Thank you, Jason. Any questions from the board? I have a question specific to the market demand. The market study is really strong, clearly, huge need. It says that the need is between 90% AMI to 150% AMI with a really low capture rate of under 4%. Do you, or James, maybe, do you have a sense of where the highest need is? I mean, I'm going to guess it's at 90% AMI, but I'm wondering if there's a sweet spot and how you came up with the 90 to 150%. Did you just tie it to the demand in the market study?
Yeah, so I can answer that. And we see the need sort of across a huge range, meaning that, it exists certainly below 90% AMI in many ways, and that's what we generally tend to target with our rental products. And we see that need going all the way up to probably close to 200% AMI locally. We are as James mentioned, we're doing a phase one of this project that's 86 for sale condos, very similar, and we're getting quite a bit of market feedback right now and seeing, to answer specifically your question, that sweet spot actually appears to be right in that 90 to 100% AMI range. The vast majority of need is right there, and so this is like the perfect fit for what we're seeing from the at least that initial indication of demand from the market right now.
That's helpful. Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I have a comment. We rarely see condominiums, and it's been rather controversial in the last several years. So I'm actually really pleased to see that that you're offering condos, because it certainly gives people a chance to own something and build up a little equity. So all the units, we're contributing to these affordable units, but all the units will be condos. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
And what this money will go for would be to subsidize the ownership in for people who are eligible, right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nancy. Okay, thank you, James and Jason. Next, we have the Denver Dry Goods Adaptive Reuse, and presenting is Evan Samara.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here again presenting to the State Housing Board. My name is Evan, and I am the DBO assigned to this project, and I'm here to present to you Denver Dry Goods. Denver Dry Goods involves the rehabilitation of the current 51 affordable housing units and the conversion of commercial space to provide an additional 55 units. The planned 106 units combined after the rehab is complete will allow Denver Dry Goods to serve households with incomes between 30 and 80% AMI. The Community Opportunity Fund was awarded a 4% LIHTC award, CHFA private activity bonds, and several varieties of state and federal tax credits. And they are requesting from DOH $5.3 million in HDG funding for the acquisition and rehabilitation work at the historic Denver Dry Goods. Presenting with me today is Haley Jordal, the Development Director of Perry Rose LLC, and I'll pass it off to her.
Hey everyone, I'm Haley Jordal with Perry Rose, and it's great to be here. Thanks for having us here to present on the Denver Dry. Perry Rose is the fee developer associated with the Denver Dry Goods redevelopment, and we're representing the ownership of the project, which is Community Opportunity Fund and Jonathan Rose Companies. I wanted to give a little bit of background on the Denver Dry. It's a historic building originally built in the 1890s and located on downtown Denver's 16th Street Mall. It was originally a department store and operated as such until the 1980s. In the 1990s was redeveloped into a mixed use, mixed income property that for the past 30 years has provided commercial space to a variety of commercial tenants, as well as rental and for sale housing. It was operating healthily until the COVID-19 pandemic, when we unfortunately lost several of our commercial tenants, which allowed us to think about a next phase of life for the building and a way to help to revitalize downtown Denver as it emerges from the pandemic. So this project will convert 4 floors of existing currently vacant commercial and office space into 55 new affordable housing units and amenity space for the tenants. And it will also renovate 51 existing units of rental housing, which are currently a mix of affordable and rental. At the end of the project will result in 106 affordable housing units restricted for tenants earning between 30% and 80% of AMI and restricted for 60 years. A couple other notes on the renovation. We, as part of the redevelopment, we will be restoring the building's historic exterior, including some of its historic defining features, its windows and its balustrade. We also have a focus on energy efficiency, and we'll be converting all 106 units from current use of a steam heating system to all electric heating, cooling, and appliances. So we'll be electrifying this portion of the building as well. The project's financials are complex, and this building is reliant on federal and state low-income housing tax credits, federal and state historic tax credits, and gap funding from the city and state housing and sustainability departments. So a lot of pieces to the puzzle here. We're very grateful for this consideration of state funding for the project. It's really critical to making this redevelopment of the building feasible. Our overall goal is to increase the supply of affordable housing in downtown Denver, and as I mentioned earlier, to contribute to the revitalization of commercial buildings in downtown coming out of the pandemic. So I'll open it up to any questions.
Thank you, Haley. Any questions from the board?
I have another comment. I can't say, oh, there's my hand raised. I'm sorry. My comment is a couple of things that are kind of personal. One is that as a Denver native and an older person, I remember shopping at the Denver Dry, and it was always a wonderful experience, and their special lunchroom and all. So I applaud the preservation of the building and putting it to a use that that really makes sense for that area. So it's a beautiful building, and I really like this project.
Thanks. It's been really wonderful throughout the planning process to hear a lot of stories of people's experience with the building over the years.
I have a comment and a couple questions. I agree, Nancy. I'm so excited to see this deal. I feel like I've seen different concepts of it over the past decade at least. So very excited to see it moving forward. And looking at the sources, it might be a record. I don't know if I've ever seen that many layers in a sources chart. So thank you for the work you're doing here. Certainly a lot of different layers. Questions I have are, if I'm remembering this building correctly, I believe the existing residents, which I think it was like 50 something units right now, right? A mix of affordable and market rate, which is what made this a little bit complicated too. But that there's been some struggle with occupancy over the past several years, maybe plus some. Is that right? Do I remember that correctly? Has it been fully occupied for the past, 5 years?
It's been close to fully occupied. We've been operating at a vacancy of maybe a little bit over 5%, but it has been it's been operating pretty healthily over the past few years.
Okay. And maybe it was during the pandemic. Was there a bump maybe around then?
Yeah, I would say the building, like downtown on the whole, has experienced some challenges during the pandemic time.
As you're moving forward, I'm also really glad to see that you don't have tons of studios here, which we see a lot in downtown Denver deals. Do you have a nice discount to market projected in the rents going forward?
We have been focusing on a discount to rents, particularly for the 70% and 80% AMI units as we're moving forward through the underwriting process. So that's definitely something that we're cognizant of.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be my comment, maybe just to staff or on this deal in particular, being that it's downtown Denver, just making sure that there's, especially with the 80% AMI units, anything above 60, that there's a nice discount to what the other units, other comps are operating at in downtown Denver. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next up is Nueva Vida Mobile Home Park Infrastructure Improvement, and presenting is Matt Long.
Hello again, everyone. So Park Lane Mobile Home Park dates back to the 1950s. It's located just outside Fort Collins city limits. It came up for sale in 2021. The owner received an offer from an investor, and park residents approached some nonprofits that were already serving the residents in different ways. Certain members of the nonprofits created a new nonprofit with a specific purpose of purchasing the mobile home park. So United Neighbors Vecinos Unidos was created. They raised about $7 million in funding from Larimer County, IDF, and Bohemian Foundation, and closed in 2022. At the vote of the residents, they renamed the park Nueva Vida, New Life. The most recent rent roll for the park shows a median income of $32,000. United Neighbors is now requesting just under $3 million of Prop 123 funds from the Division of Housing to fix infrastructure, including water, sewer, drainage, parking, etc. That will help park and its residents thrive for decades into the future. So with that, I will hand it off to Nicole Armstrong and Tommy Sucox with United Neighbors.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak today and share about United Neighbors Vecinos Unidos in Nueva Vida Mobile Home Park. United Neighbors Vecinos Unidos is a nonprofit that owns Nueva Vida Mobile Home Park, but at the heart, it belongs to the residents. They are the backbone of this organization. Their voices, their advocacy, and their commitment drive everything we do. For the past 3 years, the residents have shown incredible resilience and determination, not only in advocating for their needs, but also taking bold steps to secure their future. Their efforts led to the creation of United Neighbors Vecinos Unidos and ultimately the purchase of Nueva Vida, ensuring long-term sustainability, affordable housing for their community. Their work does not stop there. Residents have remained actively engaged, holding monthly meetings and continuously working to improve their neighborhood. Thank you for joining our journey, and I open it up to questions.
Thank you, Nicole and Matt. Any questions from the board or comments? LaDawn?
Hi, thanks for presenting today. It looks like there's a small gap between what you requested and what we're funding. What is the plan for addressing that gap in funding?
That's a great question. So when we submitted the application in October, some of the items we requested were actually already, like the engineering report was already something we had paid for. We had just put it on the application. So that is why you see a small difference in that. So those are already, that gap has already been paid for.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole, can you speak a little bit about the Bohemian Foundation? Who or what it is? Is it a bank? It seems like you've got your perm loan and your line of credit coming from the Bohemian Foundation. What kind of, maybe how long they've been around? Not like, or have they been around for a while?
Yeah, so Bohemian Foundation is located in Larimer County, primarily serving the Poudre School District area. It is a family foundation that has been around for, over 25 years. Don't count me on that, but I believe over 25 years. And they are deeply rooted in supporting Larimer County nonprofits in that support. And so they were able to support us on a PRI when we went to purchase Nueva Vida. We were facing an investor at that time and had to work pretty rapidly. And it was prior to the adjustment and amendments to the law, the new the new act. So we were working within a 90-day period at that time. So we were working very swiftly to secure the funding to move forward with the acquisition.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that, and congratulations. These deals are not easy to get done. There's a lot of work that goes into it, but it's amazing what you've put together here.
Thank you.
Anything else from the board? Okay, moving on. Thank you. Next up is River Village Mobile Home Park. Evan Samora, wonderful to see another mobile home park.
Hello again. It's certainly a pleasure and a privilege to be presenting two projects to you today. The River Village Mobile Home Park serves a total of 59 households, 23 of which are eligible for Proposition 123 funding. The River Village Mobile Home Park is a naturally occurring affordable housing property in Chaffee County in an area where the median home sales price is $637,000. The Chaffee Housing Trust is requesting $1,265,000 in Proposition 123 funding for the acquisition of River Village Mobile Home Park. There are 6 funding sources involved in this project: 3 IDF loans, a grant from Chaffee County, owner equity, and the request from DOH. Presenting the project is Reed McCullough, the Executive Director of the Chaffee Housing Trust, and Janai Stokesbury, the Real Estate Projects Manager for the Chaffee Housing Authority. And with that, I'll pass it off to Reed.
Thank you, Evan, and very thrilled to present this opportunity to you all today. This is exactly one of those projects that recent mobile home park legislation was intended for. The seller was entertaining an offer by an outside venture capital firm from New York that currently owns about 120 parks and was just hoping to add this to their list. But in partnership with the Chaffee Housing Authority, we were able to seize the moment with the support of the residents so that we can step in and acquire the park with this funding, make some significant improvements to infrastructure for the longevity of the park, and then continue to work with residents in pursuit of a resident-owned community. And with that, I will pass it off to Janai.
Thanks, Reed. Thank you, Evan. Thanks, everyone on the State Housing Board. We really appreciate your time today. We here at the Chaffee Housing Authority really look forward to working alongside the Trust to manage the park and increase our collective impact in our county into the future. Our partnership on asset and property management helps to leverage the shared capacity of both of our organizations. And this project also benefits from our special limited partnership, which deepens affordability through tax abatement. We're very grateful for your time and consideration of the River Village Mobile Home Park project, and thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any questions from the board? I would just say congratulations. Again, great to see this deal come together. As you move forward and piece together the capital stacks, will there be a need to increase any of the rents for those homeowners who do, or home renters who currently rent their units?
Janai, you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, I can take that. No, luckily, everything we're showing, barring any unforeseen dramatic increases, we get to keep the rents pretty stable. If you see on, I don't know if you all can click through, but on the income and expenses tab, there are a few, what is it? We call it the rent worksheet, sorry, unit rent worksheet. You can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I believe it's 5. See an increase. So I'm sorry, we do have small increases. We have a $25 increase, a $36, and then the most is on a 50% single wide that will increase $117. So there is one 50% unit that will go up a fair amount.
Okay.
And the reason for these rent increases more than anything is to stabilize rents so that they're equal across the board. So there's some folks who just have abnormally low rents.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I don't want to say it's nominal, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, it is nominal compared to what they could be faced with. So that's good to know. And thanks for sharing that information.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next is Chris Mountain Phase 2. Shirley Diaz will be presenting today.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I am out of the Southwest, so these projects are very far from Denver. This project, Chris Mountain, is in Archuleta County, just outside of Pagosa Springs. It's pretty adjacent to the edge of town. This phase is 15 stick-built single-family homes with funding being requested for 10 out of the 15 homes to serve 100% AMI households or lower. And the applicant requested below the maximum of $70,000 per unit in funding. Phase 1, which was partially funded by us, is complete and is currently selling. So that's an update from when our ProCon was written and submitted. And with the completion of Phase 1 in this application, the executive director has raised over $3 million in grants and waivers to serve the 100% AMI and lower households in this. It's a rural resort county, utilizing the help of our Prop 123 funds also. So presenting today is the executive director, Emily Lashbrook, with the Pagosa Springs Community Development Court. And she just entered the housing development market just 20 months ago. Emily?
Thank you, Shirley, and thank you, board. I appreciate this opportunity. I feel it is an honor and a privilege to bring this project forward to you. This is Phase 2 of our Chris Mountain 2 project. It will serve 80 to 120% AMI, and we are only requesting funding for 10 homes, and we will build 5 above the 100% AMI. Currently in Phase 1, we have 60 applicants for 10 homes, so we continue to see a real high demand for this product. We did have 32 of those individuals not be allowed to apply due to under $1,000 a year of too much income. So that's where we decided to add an additional 5 homes for the above 100%. And we are very proud that our first project, our Phase 1, both ended on time and on budget. We used no contingency, and we are looking forward to filling that project and starting Phase 2. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Shirley and Emily. Any questions from the board? All right, hearing none. Thank you.
Thank you.
Liggins Tower, presenting is Matt Long.
Hello again. Liggins Tower, I am filling in for Wayne McClary on this project. So Northeast Denver Housing Center is applying for funding for the renovation of Liggins Tower, a 73-unit project located in Denver's Park Hill neighborhood, serving seniors at or below 50% AMI. The renovation is the first application to DOH that will be utilizing HUD's Green and Resilient Retrofit program and aims to make the building more energy efficient, thereby reducing operating costs. So with that, I am pleased to introduce Dominique Acevedo, the Executive Director of the Northeast Denver Housing Center. Dominique.
Hello, again, my name's Dominique Acevedo. I'm Executive Director of Northeast Denver Housing Center. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present to the State Housing Board today. We are thrilled to be preserving 73 units of Section 8 very low income senior housing in the Northeast quadrant of Denver. This project, as Matt mentioned, does have a significant amount of HUD Green Resilient Retrofit Program funding in it. We were able to raise a $5.9 million grant for these improvements. And let me just be clear, the number one issue affecting long-term preservation of affordability on Section 8 projects such as this one is the ability to stay current with green renovations and utility costs. To give you an example, this building alone is utilizing 124.2 gallons per square foot of water. At that rate, it just simply would not be able to keep this project affordable over the long term, given the minimal increase in Section 8 rents of around 2 to 3% each year. So we are again asking for $391,136 to offset the cost that the grant doesn't cover. And we're excited to be able to make this project sustainable and affordable well into the future. Again, thank you very much for the opportunity to present this application to the State Housing Board.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? LaDawn?
So is there any chance that this HUD funding could be pulled?
Thank you for that question. So this funding for the GRRP is through the U.S. Office of HUD, their multifamily housing division, and it's already obligated. So I've spoken directly with the director, Danilo Pelletier, at the director of the U.S. Multifamily Housing, and he's explained that to me. So, we're excited about that. As Allison was mentioning earlier, it's slowing things down a bit, but the funds are already obligated, and we're very grateful for that.
Sorry, I joined a little late, so I must have missed that part of Allison's presentation.
Thanks for that question, LaDawn, and for that response, Dominique. I'm working on a GRRP deal, and we haven't heard that from HUD, so I hope that's accurate. When you say the funds have already been obligated, is that in general, like the green retrofit funds were obligated for all deals, or was it specific for Liggins Tower?
Yeah, that's such a great question, and it's specific for Liggins Tower. We were awarded in their last funding award round, so it is awarded to this project.
Okay.
And, yeah, I did call the director to confirm that, and was happy about that.
Yeah, and as you know, these GRRP funds are instrumental for projects just like this, right? That need to be rehabilitated. I really hope they just rename the program because it's so beyond green, right?
Thank you for saying that. That is, it's critical to the sustainability over time. And I just think that if we're going to keep projects at this level affordable, we have to address the operating costs, and specifically with regards to utilities. So thank you for that comment.
Yeah, definitely. I do have a comment for staff. Just looking at the unit mix, it shows that the income limit for all of the units is at 50% AMI. Since it's 100% Section 8, wonder if that should be 30% AMI. I don't know if that helps your numbers overall if you have more 30s, but I don't know why the restriction would be 50 if Section 8 limits it to 30. So just a comment. Any other questions from the board? Comments? Great. Thank you for your work on Liggins Tower. Next up is Harvest Hill. Presenting today is Matt Long.
Hello again. I'm filling in for Pam Gibson on this one. So once constructed, Harvest Hill will be Ulysses Development Group's new community in Broomfield, just north of Highway 36, with 152 rental housing units funded primarily with low-income housing tax credits. The apartments will serve households with incomes between 30% and 70% of AMI, with 30% AMI units subsidized by Section 811 project rental assistance. The property is conveniently located within a quarter-mile walk to RTD's Broomfield Station, where the FF1 commuter bus travels between Denver and Boulder every 12 minutes. The community will include an office and flex space near the building entrance where Fish, a nonprofit partner, will provide rental assisted residents with food stability services, financial assistance, and individualized family supports. I'm pleased to introduce Kevin Knapp with Ulysses Development Group.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks, Matt. I'm Kevin Knapp with Ulysses Development Group, the sponsor of the Harvest Hill project. Thanks to the board for taking time to consider the project today, and thanks to the many members of DOH staff who have provided guidance to get us here today. Harvest Hill is a transit-oriented, affordable housing development located in Broomfield. Ulysses Development Group began pursuing this development back in 2021. Now, over 3 years later, we have a financial closing in sight. If all goes as planned, we'll be delivering 152 affordable homes to the Broomfield community before the end of next year. Harvest Hill is a true public-private partnership with the funding commitments that have been made from many of our community partners in the affordable housing world. Who we all thank, including the city and county of Broomfield, who have been great partners and will be making a loan into the project, and have provided a substantial amount of fee waivers for the project as well. Broomfield also joined us in a separate application into the Division of Local Government for a More Housing Now loan, which will support the project. CHAFA has provided a federal and state tax credit award, private activity bonds, and they'll also be providing a permanent loan. Collective Clean Energy Fund, who is working with Impact Development Fund to provide another loan into the project. And in the short time I have here, I just wanted to highlight the overwhelming demand that we found and see for new affordable housing within Broomfield. This project has an 11% blended capture rate between the set-asides of 30 to 70% AMI. One unique aspect of Broomfield is that nearly 90% of the city's workforce lives outside of the PMA, or the primary market area, partially due to a lack of affordable housing located within Broomfield. We're hoping that Harvest Hill can provide some of that housing for the workforce. And of that 11% capture rate, it doesn't include any in-migration. So we think that 11% might even be overstated. So I appreciate the consideration and support of Harvest Hill, and I'll open it up for any questions.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions from the board? LaDawn?
I feel like I'm taking Sam's place of raising my hand after every project. I just want to say thank you for partnering with Broomfield Fish. I have toured their facilities and they're an amazing resource to the community. And I think that it's great that you're partnering with a nonprofit to help with this project.
Thank you for highlighting Fish. They've been a great community partner from nearly day one and been very patient with us as we've gotten to this spot.
Any other questions from the board, comments? Kevin, I've got one question for you. I'm just surprised looking at all, I shouldn't be, right? Looking at all these, another multi-layered sources deal. Your deferred developer fee seems really high. What percentage are you deferring? Is it almost all of it?
You know, I think with this award, we'll end up right around 50%. So it's not all of it, but there has been, you know, a need for a substantial amount of the deferral. You know, one problem we faced from the beginning here, and I started out by mentioning that we started this project in 2021. Obviously, things have changed since then. It looked a lot better when we started that process as far as construction costs, as far as the interest rate environment. We signed up the project initially with the disadvantage of not being within a basis boost area, which was great in 2021. As the years gone on, it has proved to be a challenge. And so that's what's caused some of the increase in the deferred development fee.
Got it. All right. Well, thank you for clarifying that. Any other questions from the board? All right. Thank
Thanks,
you,
everybody.
Kevin and Nat. Next up is the Grove at Cottonwood, and presenting is Matt Long.
For the final time today, last you have to hear of me. So I'm filling in for Pam Gibson today. The Grove at Cottonwood will be one of the first neurodiverse rental communities in Colorado. Developed by a team led by the Broomfield Housing Alliance and funded with tax credits, the 40-unit property will serve individuals with intellectual and/or developmental disabilities and seniors and families with incomes averaging 50% of AMI. HUD 811 rental assistance from the state's Office of Homelessness initiatives will facilitate BHA's employment of a resident concierge to provide resident transportation related to the scheduling of appointments with service providers, community groups, providing life skill training and classes, case management meetings, or social activities in the community requested by the residents. The development is centrally located and is sited next to a neuro-inclusive school. I'm pleased to welcome Kristen Heiser with Broomfield Housing Alliance.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Kristen Heiser, the Executive Director of the Broomfield Housing Alliance. I'm joined today by my colleague at Blue Line, Gabby Carrazzo. BHA was created 3 years ago as Broomfield's independent housing authority dedicated to expanding affordable housing opportunities in our community. One of our first major actions was acquiring the land where the Grove at Cottonwood will be located. At the same time we were securing this land, I was contacted by a group of Broomfield parents with a deeply personal and urgent concern: where their adult children with intellectual and developmental disabilities would live when they can no longer care for them due to aging or passing. Their fears were real, and their advocacy, along with that of their children, became the driving force behind the Grove. The Grove will be Colorado's first low-income housing tax credit development, prioritizing the housing needs of individuals with IDD. It will offer 40 rental homes, a mix of 1- and 2-bedroom units, designed to support independent living while fostering a strong sense of community. With amenities that encourage connection, engagement, and stability, the Grove will be more than just housing. It will be a place where residents can thrive. We're excited to bring this vision to life, ensuring that all members of our community, including those with IDD, have access to safe, supportive, and affordable homes. Thank you. And I'm happy to answer any questions along with my colleague, Gabby.
Thank you so much. Any questions or comments from the board? Kristen, what does IDD stand for?
Sorry about it. Yeah, quick with the acronyms. Intellectual and developmental disabilities.
And you said neurodiverse as well. So is it ADHD, autism, like the whole?
Exactly. So primarily it's everything from, could be cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, ADHD on the autism spectrum. There's quite a diversity in that population.
And I think you also mentioned this was the first of this kind of housing in Colorado. Is it?
Yeah. Well, you're one of the first.
States?
So luckily we came on at a time this project came about. CHFA had just released a white paper looking at the housing needs of this population. About the same time, a couple of different developments popped up. We are the first that's going to be 100% affordable as using low-income housing tax credits. There are 2 or 3 others that are being built and coming online, but we will be the first LIHTC deal.
That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thanks. We're excited.
Nancy?
I did find the hands up. Little sign there. Yeah, I just want to say that I think this is really a terrific project. These folks can live on their own with some support, and this will be a really nice opportunity for them. I just think this is what one of the reasons why we want to support housing in Colorado. This project is really, I look forward to hearing more about it as it gets built and people start living there. So kudos to the group that are doing this work.
Thank you. We have to give a lot of credit to the parents and the advocates that have been on this journey with us.
Got one last question here on this deal. So if it's a tax credit deal, is it income averaged? And if you have an individual who's on disability, state disability, do they qualify at, 60% AMI or 30% AMI, or are you targeting them as you're considering your unit mix?
We're not income averaging on this development. And so, yes, their disabilities benefits will help them qualify. And then we're also securing 811 vouchers that will help with some of the deeper affordability that we need to achieve on the site because of their lower incomes.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments from the board? All right, hearing none, we will move on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Rock Creek Housing Project Phase 2, and presenting is Shirley Diaz.
Hello again, everyone. So this is in Ignacio, Colorado, which is a small town bordered by the Southern Ute Reservation. It's actually a 3-phase project, with phase 1 being completed without any DOH funding, but it does have some DLG funds in it. And then phase 3 is on track to be a rental project. The land has been waiting to be developed since the early 2000s when the town acquired it. The application today is for a portion of phase 2, only 6 homes out of the 11 homes being constructed. They're all modular. And the 10 homes of phase 1 are being set this week, which just a little aside fact. The creation of the Housing Authority and Mark's expertise as the town manager has saved the town hundreds of thousands of dollars in development costs, thereby lowering the pricing of the homes. And he also connected with Homes Fund, which is a CDFI, to offer down payment assistance to households to help lower their upfront costs even further. And here representing the project today is the mayor, Clark Craig, and speaking first is the town manager, Mark Garcia. Mark?
Good afternoon, State Housing Board. Thank you for entertaining our application today. I want to say thank you for your support. I want to thank staff for all of their support through this application and post-approval review process. It's been a lot of work and we really appreciate the support. It's an exciting project, and I'm going to turn it over to the mayor to give you some more details. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Really want to echo what Shirley had talked about. Ignacio is very unique. It actually sits within the boundaries of the Southern Ute tribe, which creates wonderful opportunities, but also some challenges. So this particular phase 1 and phase 2 are not funded or have any funding from the tribe. And I just kind of want to make sure that we're separating ourselves from that. However, we did receive a NIHUI grant for infrastructure on phase 1, which helped with the affordability of that project. Phase 2, we realized we really need to target into our 100% AMI folks. And that's really where we see this as an opportunity to partner with Division of Housing and these Prop 123 dollars to be able to provide a reasonably, really great product to that 100% that group. And so in some respects, they're kind of getting overlooked with some of our housing projects down here in Southwest Colorado. The market is pretty strong and some of these houses are pretty expensive. So we've got a great project. We've got a lot of videos. We've got some pictures. Love to share it with you and love to walk you through these projects. As Shirley mentioned, we're setting homes right now. These are homes from Fading West, built in Buena Vista. So we're local to Colorado. And it's a great product. And so if you have any questions for us, Mark and I are here and Shirley's here to answer any questions you might have.
Wonderful, thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing none, looks like we're going to let you off the hook easy. Great project, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up is the Anvil Wash Townhomes, and presenting is Shirley Diaz.
Okay, last one for today. This one is in the tiny town of Silverton, and Anvil Walsh Townhomes is a modular project with 8 townhomes, 4 homes each in 2 buildings, and 1 single-family home that will have a higher AMI restriction than Prop 123 allows, and so that single-family home is excluded from this request. The Anvil Wash area was remediated to remove environmental contaminants back in 2008 and 2009 to facilitate the construction of homes. And currently, there are both affordable apartments, which did have some DOH money in them. And then there's also homes already constructed and occupied on another part of the site. These additional units will expand the affordable home ownership needed in the community, with another apartment phase also contemplated for the future. Here representing the project today are Bleecker Seaman and Jack Jones with Tributary Development. And speaking first is Ann Chase with the Silverton Housing Authority. Ann?
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to share our story with you today. And this is our story. Silverton is a really small town with a big housing problem. We have just 800 people in the entire county, so each individual person plays a vital role in our community. Our lack of affordable housing means that 90% of our emergency and healthcare personnel travel 50 miles over mountain passes to work. Our employers are currently understaffed, and our seniors are stuck in 100-year-old housing with only wood stoves for heat. And addressing our housing problem is no easy task. We have a short building season, a slim construction workforce, and supplies travel long distances to get here. And one of Colorado's smallest tax bases, our local resources are extremely limited. And so our task is clear. We need to build quality, affordable housing quickly, responsibly, and thoughtfully to meet the urgent needs and long-term needs of our community. And so the Anvil Walsh Townhomes is a 9-unit modular housing development designed to contend with our construction challenges. The site is donated land with existing infrastructure, and we're using gentle density for efficient use of the property. This project is designed to provide future homeowners with energy efficient and low maintenance homes located within 1 mile of every service and amenity that Silverton has to offer. And we've already launched some efforts to prepare and support future home buyers through this process, including home buyer education courses. We have 15 ready to buy households on the wait list since launched 2 weeks ago. And the county and the town and the housing authority are working together synergistically, and we've partnered with Tributary Development to leverage experience and expertise in affordable housing development with our understanding of local needs. And I want to emphasize that this development on this timeline is our best and viable opportunity to build affordable housing anytime in the near future, and we can't do it without you. So thank you so much for your consideration.
Thank you so much, Ann. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, great project. Thank you. Next, we will move on to the voting part of our meeting. I'd like to ask if there are any members of the board that will need to recuse themselves from any of these deals that we've just gone over. Okay, that makes it easy. I'll go ahead and ask for a motion for approval for the project applications to include House Pad, Cottonwoods at Mid Valley, Denver Dry Goods, Nueva Vida, River Village, Chris Mountain Phase 2, Liggins Tower, Harvest Hill, The Grove at Cottonwood, Rock Creek Phase 2, and Anvil Wash Townhomes.
So moved.
So moved.
Thanks for that motion, LaDon. Was that a second, James?
Yes.
Thank you. All those in favor signified by aye or hand raise.
Aye.
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 Is anybody opposed? And Nancy, did you have a question or that was your hand raise? That's your hand raise. Okay, thank you. All right, excellent. Well, congratulations to all of these fantastic awardees. This was a wonderful board meeting. We appreciate all your time and effort put into these great deals, and we look forward to seeing at least the staff here again in a couple of weeks. Before we end the meeting, I'd like to ask, are we meeting monthly or bi-monthly going forward?
That's a great question, Anthea. So based on our quarterly application cycle, you'll notice we came at you with a big chunk of applications today. We're expecting the cadence to sort of drop to monthly to coordinate with that shift to our quarterly cycle. So meetings out through June should be scheduled on your calendar. I will flag that we may be adding one in April for some rules adoption for our mobile home team. But in general, you should expect monthly, and all meetings are scheduled through June.
Okay.
We do want to hold the option if we need to do twice a month. But again, I think we're shifting to this world of less frequent, more applications.
Great. So on our calendar then going forward should be monthly?
Yes. So the next meeting is March 11th.
Okay. And if we might need another one in April, do you mind sending something out just to hold the time on our calendars?
Will do. We'll get that out today. And that was a recent development. So thank you all for your flexibility.
Wonderful. Well, thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.